All right, day 8 here. I got in this morning, did a little bit of organizing and clean up here. So today is the day I've been waiting for a long time. We're going to start putting these Wilwood and RideTech parts on the truck and do final assembly so we can finally convert this thing to coil springs. Everything has been painted, touched up. It is all ready to go. Got all grade 8 hardware to put it all together. So I am pumped to finally have all of these parts on this truck. They've been sitting in my office for a long time and staring at them. So anyway, hopefully today we'll get a lot of it on there. All right, first part going on. All right, let's tighten her down. All right, let's torque these down to 44 foot-pounds. All right, one down, one to go. All right, the trailing arm brackets are on. One thing I like to do is put a little mark across the head of the bolt there, just indicating that I'd double check the torque on those things, just to make sure no bolts are left loose. All right, the next step, we're going to put this cross member that was part of the leaf suspension. I'm going to put it in just for a little extra rigidity in the frame. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bolt that cross member in here for the leaf springs, the shock cross member and the panhard cross member. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave them loose. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this level to set the back of the frame level with itself so that it all goes back together level. So right now, this corner is a little bit high and so is that corner. So it's a little bit racked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten it back out with itself. Since this is sitting on jack stands and the front suspension has got heated coils on it, what I'm going to do is just try to get it level with itself, kind of squared up with itself so that it will be, will actually be better than it was when I took it apart, because it was pretty racked when I took it apart. So the squareness and levelness was not a priority in these trucks. I think they just slammed them together. So anything I do here is going to make it a little bit better. So in a perfect world, it'll be better to put it on a frame table, but for what we're doing here, this will work just fine. So 3 hours later, we're finally fully assembled. Sans 10 bolts. I need to go buy 10 of them that are 7/16 by 1 3/4. I didn't calculate correctly, and some of these are going to be going through 3 pieces of material. Here at the bolt-in notch, it's going through the frame, the notch, and this cross member, so I need a longer bolt there. Same thing here, we got going through 3 pieces of material, and as well back here on the panhard cross member. So I'm going to go get 10 of those here real quick so we can get this all finished up. But at this point, everything is torqued down to spec. Everything's here, and believe it or not, I didn't have to do any tweaking on this frame. Well, I kind of bolted from the back to the front together. It actually straightened itself back out, so it is plumb with itself, and it's true. So that worked out perfect. So at this point, I'm going to run and go grab some bolts so I can finish those 10 spots there, and we can start putting parts on this rear end here, start putting the brakes on here so we can get in under the truck here. So that's kind of where we're at. Pretty boring morning, just putting lots of bolts in and a lot of torquing, a lot of clicking from the torque wrench. So anyway, that's where we're at. So I've been waiting for this for a long time. I'm going to start putting the Wilwood parts on this rear end that I rebuilt. All the bolts are torqued down. I went ahead and got some longer bolts for those bolts that are going through 3 pieces of material there. So everything's torqued down, everything's square. The frame is level with itself, it's square with itself. So now the fun begins. Start putting on all these good parts that I've been staring at for a while. All right, let's put these disc brake adapters on. So I already took the axle out of the housing. The way these things orient is they kind of go on here, bolts in here, so I can get it sitting up here at least. 2 bolts in here. So the way they go on is there is a emergency cable bracket. And what this does is this goes on the top side towards the front of the vehicle. So this is the driver's side. Caliper goes on the rear. Just bolts on with the factory 4 bolts. The 7/16 bolts, actually they're 3/8 bolts. So I'm going to go ahead and put them on real quick, torque them down, and then we can put the axle back in and put the rotor on. Just kind of taking care not to touch this pad here, because there's gear oil. Kind of when you get this open, there's gear oil everywhere. So Just make sure not touch that, and if you do, clean it real well with some brake cleaner. Okay. Torque wrench out here. I'm torquing these to 44 foot-pounds, which is the so kind of a standard, industry standard for a 3/8 grade 8 bolt. You can go higher, but 44 is kind of at the average. So. Four. Okay, put the axle back in it. Drop the pin in, or the C-clip in. So I'm going to rotate this just a little bit so I can get some more clearance here. Get it to drop in there a little further. There we go. That's it. All right, that's it. So let's go ahead and slide this rotor on to protect this parking brake shoe here. So there's not much to it, just kind of slide it on. Index is on the largest set of holes in these rotors. Just like that. Go ahead and run a couple lug nuts on, just to hold it in place. All right, that's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and put the diff cover back on just to keep the dirt out of it. I'm going to clean up all these tools and put these calipers on just to see what they look like. Just kind of mock them up and then get this rear end underneath the truck. All right, let's go ahead and test fit these calipers. Now, the way these things do, they kind of slide down around this bracket. Kind of down inside and around. These long locator bolts with a bushing on one end. So you just kind of thread those in there. This looks like it's a brass bushing, kind of sits in there, kind of centers the hex bolts in there. So actually a pretty simple design. Get them to take, there we go. And then it's just a 3/8 hex head. Gonna run them down. That's it. Oh boy, that looks pretty good. The Wilwoods are on, finally. It's been a long time coming. So the calipers and the rotors are just hand tightened right now. The backplate caliper bracket is torqued down on both sides. Still got the wrong diff cover on there just because I haven't put the stock cover on yet. Just wanted to make sure before I buttoned it down that everything was going to go together well. So next up is going to be putting some, I actually like to use Toyota FIPG. This stuff is like liquid nails. I've used it in car builds over the years and it seals like nobody's business. A little expensive at $20 a tube, but that diff cover is not going to leak. So once everything is under the truck and good to go, I'll put that on there for good. Kind of ran out of time today, but got quite a bit accomplished. The rear of the truck is all bolted together. It's all squared up. It's all true. Everything is torqued down. So next up is to put this axle underneath the truck, put the trailing arms back on, put the pin hard bar in, torque it all down, and put the bed on. So my plan is next, get the brake lines. I'm going to order a stainless steel brake line kit for the whole truck. I've got to get a little creative with some brake lines around the notches and this pin hard bar, but we'll get to that in another video. So at this point, got quite a bit accomplished today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you do like these videos, please like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. And if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those below. Anyway, have a good day.